welcome back. We truly appreciate your support. Where are you joining us from today? We love seeing who shares these unforgettable moments. Now, let's dive into today's story about a cheating wife. For a long time, I believed I was a good husband, the kind of man who trusted easily and gave people the benefit of the doubt. I never went through my wife's phone or questioned her every move. I didn't see a reason to be jealous or start unnecessary drama. To me, love meant trust, and I thought that was enough. My wife, Vanessa, wasn't a bad person. In many ways, she was charming and full of life. But she had a habit, one I ignored for far too long. She liked to test boundaries, to see how far she could go before I reacted. Sometimes it was small things, spending money on things we didn't need or staying out later than she said she would. I told myself it was harmless, nothing worth arguing about. But other times I sensed something deeper, something intentional. There was a quiet challenge in her eyes, as if she was waiting to see if I would ever stand up for myself. Then came Jake. I knew his type. I'd seen men like him before. Vanessa said he was just a friend, but he wasn't just any friend. He was her ex. And no matter how much time had passed, one thing was clear. Men like Jake don't stick around without a reason. They wait. They stay close, pretending to be the supportive friend, while secretly watching for an opportunity. I told Vanessa more than once that I didn't trust him. I wasn't a jealous husband without cause. But every time I brought it up, she brushed me off. You're overthinking it, she'd say. He's just a friend, Richard. Stop being so insecure. Honestly, he's like a brother to me. The usual lines. The same old reassurances. And I wanted to believe her. So I let it go, again and again. But even trust has limits. And one day, she was about to learn exactly where mine ended. It was a quiet evening. Vanessa and I sat together in the living room, the soft sound of the TV playing in the background. She was scrolling through her phone, casually chatting about her day, when she brought it up, like it was nothing important. Some of my old friends are planning a weekend trip, a beach house in the Bahamas. It'll be fun just catching up and relaxing. Like old times. On the surface, it seemed harmless. I had never been the type to control where she went or who she spent time with. We had always valued our independence, living our own lives while sharing them with each other. But then, she added something that made my stomach tighten. Jake's going too. The moment she said his name, I knew this wasn't just a simple update. There was something intentional in her tone, a pause, like she was waiting to see how I'd respond, watching to see if I'd object. That's exactly what she wanted. I had warned her about Jake for years, not because I was paranoid, but because I understood the situation. Jake wasn't some harmless friend. He was a man waiting for his chance, and I couldn't pretend otherwise. But this time, I didn't react the way Vanessa expected. I didn't argue. I didn't remind her why Jake was a problem. I didn't list the countless times I'd let things go. I simply looked at her and said, in a calm and steady voice, if you go, don't bother coming back. She blinked, surprised. Then she laughed. God, Richard, you're so dramatic, she said, rolling her eyes, smirking like I was being ridiculous. And then came the usual defenses, the same ones she always used whenever I expressed concern. You're overreacting. Jake's just a friend. You need to stop being so insecure. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. Do what you want, I said quietly. And I meant it. She thought I was bluffing just like always. She had no idea that this time, I was completely serious. The morning of her trip, she acted like nothing had changed. She moved around the house, humming while packing her suitcase, folding her clothes neatly, checking her phone every now and then, probably replying to the group chat about the trip. Every so often, she looked at me, expecting me to speak up, to remind her of what I said. But I stayed silent. I just watched. When she finished, she rolled her suitcase to the front door and walked over to me. She leaned down, gave me a quick kiss on the cheek, just like she always did before leaving on a trip. Love you, she said, her tone light and dismissive, like my warning 2 days ago had never happened. Then, without another word, she grabbed her keys and walked out the door. I didn't say a word.
I didn't need to.
I just stood by the window and watched as she loaded her suitcase into the taxi, got in, and disappeared down the road. The moment she was gone, I picked up my phone. It was time to put my plan into action. I had already made my decision. Now it was time to follow through.
First, the locks.
I had scheduled a locksmith the day before, just in case. Within an hour, the house was secured. The keys Vanessa had in her purse were now useless. She would return expecting everything to be the same. But when she came back, she'd find the door locked and a life that no longer included her. Next, her belongings. I walked into our bedroom, her side of the closet, her vanity covered in perfumes, the drawers filled with her carefully folded clothes. One by one, I packed everything. Her dresses, her shoes, her makeup, every piece of her life that remained in this house. I packed it all neatly into boxes, labeled, and ready to be sent to her parents' home. I didn't want her to have a reason to come back, not even to pick up a forgotten sweater. And finally, the divorce papers. I picked up the phone and called my lawyer. "I'm ready," I told him. "Make it official." There was no hesitation in my voice.
No second-guessing.
No regret. This wasn't a threat. Vanessa had spent years testing my patience, pushing boundaries, and expecting forgiveness. She thought she had me figured out, that I'd grumble, maybe give her the silent treatment, but in the end, I could have let it go. But this time was different. This time I was done. For the rest of the day, I moved through the house with quiet purpose. The home we once shared already felt different, lighter, freer. The weight of doubt, of mistrust, of years spent ignoring my instincts had finally lifted. By the time I went to bed that night, I felt something I hadn't experienced in a long time.
Peace.
Vanessa thought she was off on a fun little getaway. She had no idea that when she returned, her entire world would be different. She had made her choice. Now she'd have to live with it. In the days after she left, I barely thought about Vanessa. As far as I was concerned, she was part of my past. The decision had been made, the preparations executed, and I was ready to move forward. I assumed she was still at the beach house, sipping cocktails, laughing with her friends, completely unaware that when she came back, her home would no longer be hers. But then, on the fourth day, 3 days earlier than planned, she showed up. The first sign was a notification on my phone. The security camera at the front door had detected movement. Curious, I opened the live feed. And there she was. Vanessa stood on the porch, bags at her feet, wearing a relaxed expression as she reached for the doorknob, expecting to walk right in as if nothing had changed. The door didn't budge. She frowned, tried again, and again, and again. I watched as confusion spread across her face, her brows knitting together as the realization began to sink in. She leaned in, inspecting the lock. And in that moment, she knew. It had been changed. Her hand flew to her phone, and seconds later, mine began to ring. "Richard," she breathed, her voice already shaking. "The door won't open." I kept my tone calm, detached. "You don't live here anymore." Silence. I could hear her breathing, shaky, uneven, like she was struggling to process what I'd just said. "Your things are at your parents' house," I added. "Expect the divorce papers in a week or 2. More silence. Then came her voice again, this time desperate. "Richard, please."
Wait.
"Let me just." I ended the call before she could finish. Within seconds, my phone buzzed again. Her name flashed across the screen. Once, twice, 3 times. I ignored every call. Then came the messages. "Richard, please talk to me. I messed up. I'm so sorry. It's not what it looks like." I sat there staring at my phone as the notifications piled up. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. I just felt nothing. This was the same woman who had laughed in my face when I told her not to go. The same woman who kissed me goodbye, so sure I wouldn't do a damn thing about it.
And now?
Now she was begging. Another message popped up. "Please pick up. There's something I need to tell you." I checked the camera feed again. Vanessa was pacing the porch, her face flushed, hands trembling. She looked frantic, running her fingers through her hair, probably wondering how things had unraveled so fast. Then the messages stopped. Instead, she sent a voice note. I hesitated, then pressed play. The moment her voice came through, I knew. This wasn't just guilt. This was fear. Her voice trembled, raw and broken. Richard, please listen to me.
You were right about Jake.
I should have listened to you. I swear, I never expected any of this to happen. She took a shaky breath, her words tumbling out between sobs. I drank too much. And when I woke up, something happened. Jake, he recorded it. He's blackmailing me. Her breath hitched, the panic rising in her voice. I didn't want you to find out like this. I didn't know what to do. Please, Richard. I need you. I sat in silence, letting her desperation echo through my home. She was scared now, not just because she had made a mistake, but because she had lost control. The man she had trusted had turned on her. And now, she wanted me to pick up the pieces. Maybe once I would have. Maybe once I would have softened, told myself that love meant forgiveness. But that man, the one who ignored his instincts, who accepted disrespect again and again, he was gone. I typed out one last message. Enjoy your life, Vanessa. You made your choice. Now live with it. Then I blocked her. That was it. The final chapter in a story I should have ended a long time ago. I never looked back. Never checked in to see how she was doing. Never asked mutual friends for updates. She had spent years believing she could test my limits, that I'd always forgive. She was wrong. From what I heard, it didn't take long for her life to fall apart. Her parents weren't happy. They didn't know all the details, but they knew enough. They knew she had walked out on a good marriage, that she had ignored my warnings, that she had returned to find herself locked out of the life she thought she still had. Her father was furious. He had always respected me, seen me as a steady man who took care of his daughter. Now he was forced to take her in because she had nowhere else to go. Her friends weren't much better. A few reached out trying to explain, trying to fix it. Richard, she's really sorry. You don't have to end things over one mistake. At least hear her out. I ignored every single one. They weren't the ones who had to live with her choices. I was. And Jake, the man she had risked everything for? The moment things got messy, he vanished. When Vanessa started talking about him recording her without consent, he knew what that meant. He ghosted her, blocked her, disappeared without a trace. The man she had chosen over me wouldn't even answer her calls. So there she was, alone, humiliated, drowning in regret. Meanwhile, I moved on. I focused on my work, my peace, my future. I refused to waste a single second wondering if she missed me, if she had finally realized how badly she messed up. Because deep down I already knew. Some mistakes can't be undone. Some choices carry consequences you can't run from. Vanessa thought I was bluffing. She thought my warning was just an empty threat. She was wrong. Some lessons in life come gently, like a whisper, nudging you to change. Others hit like a storm, shaking everything you thought was secure. This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about boundaries, about knowing when enough is truly enough. For years, Richard ignored the warning signs, convinced himself that trust meant turning a blind eye, that love meant patience, even when that patience was mistaken for weakness. But trust is a two-way street, and respect should never have to be begged for. Vanessa thought the boundaries he set were flexible, negotiable. But life has a way of showing us that some lines, once crossed, can never be redrawn. And when someone repeatedly shows you they don't respect you, the bravest thing you can do is walk away. What about you? Have you ever had to set a boundary that someone refused to respect? Did you ever reach your breaking point? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. Until next time, take care. And remember, knowing your worth isn't just about what you're willing to give. It's also about what you refuse to accept.